Paige Bueckers just got drafted, and Dallas didn't just get a player, they hit the reset button on their entire franchise. But here's the real twist. Washington came in with 3 first-round picks and walked away with a blueprint for the future. And while everyone was watching the top names, some stars didn't even get picked. This draft wasn't just about talent, it exposed how deep the politics run in pro basketball. Who rose, who fell, and which teams just flipped the script on the entire league. Let's break it all down. Dallas got their girl. Number 1 overall, Paige Bueckers heading to the Wings. The moment her name got called, her face lit up. Relief, joy, purpose. Finally knowing where she's taking her talents after that long injury comeback at UConn. She looked out the crowd, stood tall, grabbed that Wings jersey, and just like that, a franchise that went 9-31 last season suddenly has hope again. Dallas hasn't had a number 1 pick since 2021. They've been waiting, searching, needing someone to change everything, and now they got a pure leader, a true point guard, someone who understands the game at a different level. When asked about joining Dallas, Paige didn't hesitate. I'm just gonna be a sponge. I've been waiting for this moment to finally have it happen and have some clarity. I'm ready to bring all of that to the Wings. No big promises, no ego, just work. That's what makes her different. That's what makes this pick special. And Arike Ogunbowale, she's about to eat. Because when you put a passer like Paige next to a scorer like Arike, numbers explode, defenses collapse, and games change. That's not speculation, that's just basketball math. This didn't start on draft night. The buzz around Paige has been building since her freshman year at UConn when she took college hoops by storm. Then came the injuries, the setbacks, the questions. Would she ever get back to that level? Would she still be worthy of that number 1 pick? Could she handle the pressure? All that noise disappeared when she led UConn back to the Final Four this year. She silenced the doubters, showed that NBA DNA still runs through her game. But Dallas isn't the only team that changed their future overnight. The Washington Mystics came in with a plan and absolutely crushed it. 3 first-round picks, 3, 4, and 6. A chance to rebuild in one night. This is chess, not checkers. The Mystics lost Elena Del Don, a future Hall of Famer who decided not to return. That's a massive hole. But instead of panicking, they plotted, planned, positioned themselves for this draft. And then they executed perfectly. Sonia Citron at 3, Kiki Ariafan at 4, Georgia Amor at 6. A guard, a post player, a shooter. Everything they needed in one draft class. Sidney Johnson, their GM, didn't just make picks, he built a foundation. These aren't just rookies, they're puzzle pieces designed to fit together for years. Meanwhile, Seattle made one of the biggest moves by landing Malona, the 19-year-old international phenom being called a female Victor Wembanyama. The Storm didn't just get a player, they potentially got their cornerstone for the next decade. This draft went beyond filling roster spots. It was about franchises charting new courses, betting on young talent, creating new identities, and for players like Angel Reese and Haley Van Lith, 2 former LSU teammates now reunited in Chicago, it's about bringing championship chemistry to the pros. Paige Bueckers isn't just talented, she's built different. Her court vision doesn't just create shots, it creates confidence in everyone around her. When Dallas was on the clock, they weren't just drafting a player, they were drafting a culture changer, and Dallas needs that bad. After winning only 9 games last season, they need someone who makes everyone better, and that's exactly what Paige brings, an ability to elevate every player on the floor. The real winner might be Arike Ogunbowale. Already one of the league's deadliest scorers, now she gets a point guard who lives to set up her teammates. That's gonna be straight fire, no cap. Arike's about to have her best season yet. But this draft wasn't a one-woman show. Washington's trio of Citron, Ariafen, and Amor brings versatility, shooting, and toughness. Citron's perimeter game, Ariafem's post presence, and Amor's ability to run an offense, they complement each other perfectly. Amor's decision to follow her coach to Kentucky for that final year speaks volumes about her loyalty and leadership. And then there's the reunion nobody saw coming. Angel Reese and Haley Van Lith together again in Chicago. These two were teammates at LSU during their championship run, and now they're bringing that same energy to the sky. What makes this pairing so special? It's how different their paths were. Angel stayed at LSU and dominated. Haley transferred to TCU and flourished in a system that highlighted her strengths. Now they're back together, both better for their separate journeys. The Sky didn't just draft talent, they drafted chemistry, they drafted history, they drafted players who already know how to win together. That's big brain energy right there. And Seattle, they might have the draft's highest ceiling with Malona. At 19, she's already dominated internationally. Her size, athleticism, and perimeter skills make her a unicorn in the WNBA. Paired with veterans like Skylar Diggins-Smith, she has the perfect environment to develop. France keeps producing these basketball phenoms, first Victor Wembanyama and now Malona. Whatever's in the water over there is working wonders. Draft night sent shockwaves through the league, and not just because of who got picked, but also because of who didn't. Diamond Johnson from Norfolk State, undrafted. Sedona Prince, undrafted. Deja Kelly, undrafted. Names that dominate college headlines somehow slipped through the cracks. The transfer portal might have played a role here. When Kelly moved from North Carolina to Oregon, her draft stock took a hit despite her talent remaining the same. Oregon's struggles as a program may have unfairly reflected on her individual abilities, but here's the tea. Being drafted doesn't mean being done. Some of the WNBA's best came in through the back door. Erica Wheeler built a career. The head coach of the Las Vegas Aces, the defending champs, went undrafted back in the day. Different paths, same destination. Speaking of surprises, Golden State's decision at pick number 5 raised eyebrows among the league. Anissa Morrow seemed like the perfect fit. A defensive anchor, a double-double machine, a rim protector. Instead, they went another direction. Connecticut said thank you very much and scooped up Morrow, adding a walking double-double to replace the engine they lost in Alyssa Thomas. That's how championship teams stay in contention, by capitalizing on others' mistakes. Meanwhile, Phoenix didn't have a single pick in this draft. Zero, nada. But does it matter? They heated up the dessert in free agency by landing Satu Sabali and Alyssa Thomas. They didn't need draft picks, they went shopping for established stars instead. And the reigning champion New York Liberty, they got the very last pick in the draft. The champs stay eating good, but even they might be looking at all this young talent with a touch of FOMO. Draft night created immediate winners, but it also set up rivalries, redemption stories, and chips on shoulders that will play out for years to come. Let's talk about what nobody's saying out loud. The WNBA draft shows how thin the line is between being chosen and being overlooked. Why did some players fall? Why did others rise? What really determines a player's value? The transfer portal has changed everything. Players switching schools used to be rare, and now it's common, but are teams holding these moves against players? Is changing schools being seen as a red flag when it should be viewed as athletes taking control of their careers? Deja Kelly's situation raises serious questions. She balled out at North Carolina, transferred to Oregon, and suddenly vanished from draft boards despite her game remaining elite. That doesn't add up. And what about international players versus domestic talent? Melona gets hyped as the next big thing, while some accomplished college stars don't hear their names called. Is there a bias toward international mystique over proven NCAA production? And then there's the question of fit versus talent. Are teams drafting the best player available or the player who fits their system? Golden State passed on Anissa Morrow, a decision that might haunt them if she becomes the defensive anchor Connecticut needs. The truth nobody wants to admit? The draft isn't about basketball skills. It's about marketability, social media following, name recognition. The business side influences basketball decisions more than most want to acknowledge. That's not criticism, that's just reality. The WNBA is growing. Teams need players who bring eyes, clicks, and tickets alongside their crossovers and jump shots. So when we see certain players rise while others fall, we need to ask, what's really being valued here? Is it purely about what happens between the lines, or is it also about what happens online? These questions aren't going away. They're getting louder as the league gets bigger. This rookie class isn't just changing jerseys, they're changing the entire story of the league. Paige Bueckers in Dallas, that trio of fresh firepower landing in Washington, Angel and Haley back together and ready to shake things up in Chicago, and Melona, she's adding international heat to Seattle's lineup. This isn't just a new season, it's a new era. Veterans, take note. These rookies aren't here to learn quietly on the bench. They're here to make noise, grab headlines, and rewrite the WNBA's future. The action starts May 24th when the Liberty take on the Fever live on CBS. Dallas hits the court right after, debuting their new star against the Dream. And then it's game after game. Fever versus Sky, Sparks versus Aces, Sparks versus Mercury. The league didn't just circle these dates, they underlined them in bold. But now it's your turn. We need your take. Who won the draft night? Did Washington's three-player gamble pay off, or did Dallas win the moment Paige Bueckers' name was called? Hit the comments, let it fly, and let's settle this debate like real fans do. And hey, don't forget about those undrafted players. Some of the biggest storms come from players with the biggest chips on their shoulders. The draft may be done, but trust me, the real drama, it's just getting started. And speaking of Dallas and star power, Paige Bueckers is already turning heads before she even plays her first pro game. But off the court, she's got her must-haves, her essentials, the things she simply can't live without. From pre-game rituals to personal items, click here to see the 10 things Dallas Wings' Paige Bueckers can't live without. You don't want to miss this.